trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Doreen Scanlon. We begin today at noon with coverage of our schools now. And Massachusetts moving forward with its plan to end the school mask mandate at the end of the month. The Board of Elementary and Secondary Education met this morning for the first time since that announcement. DESE Commissioner Jeffrey Riley says if he believes the data change and another mandate is prudent, he'd have to come back before the board to ask for authorization. For now, he is leaving it to local control.
By announcing several weeks in advance, we hope to allow sufficient time for local school committees to best decide what policy makes sense for them. What I would say is whatever and whenever decisions are made by the school boards, all staff and students have the choice to continue masking if they so choose. And when I spoke to the superintendents, I reiterated how important it was that schools create a supportive environment for all students regarding the masking.
The commissioner also confirmed that he invited Innovators Charter School to submit a final application for approval, but they withdrew. That would have been a STEM school in New Bedford. He said officials involved in the project cited political complexities, something he called unfortunate. And with that local control comes local decisions. And one of the first was made last night in Fall River. The school committee voting to extend the requirement until March 14th. ABC6 News reporter Laura Puglisi spoke to parents and students about that decision.
School committee members here in Fall River made the decision based on concerns of another COVID spike following winter break. Now, as a reminder, the statewide mandate is lifted beginning February 28th, so students here will have to wait a little bit longer to take the mask off.
I'm also just really excited to not have to wear a mask anymore.
Students across Fall River will have to wait a little bit longer to take off their mask. The district now requiring them until March 14th, despite the state lifting its mandate February 28th.
I'm really happy about that because it's been a while since we were not mandated to wear masks, which is honestly going to be really good.
The decision made unanimously Monday night by the Fall River School Committee. Members stating they had reservations about following Commonwealth guidelines that allow for the mandate to be lifted on the final day of February. Even though that means holding off on ditching masks, many students we spoke to say they're just happy an end is in sight.
They make my face really itchy, and during gym, it's usually harder to breathe because of the mask.
You have to wear a mask for like 6 hours, and you have to learn and wear it at tests and stuff.
It's a similar call to extend masking at Diamond Regional Vocational High School in Fall River. Once it is lifted, officials said in a letter to families, it will be critical to ensure anyone who chooses to continue to wear a mask after March 14th do so without harassment or judgment. But the Diocese of Fall River Catholic schools took a different route, no longer requiring masks once the mandate is lifted. While many are ready to get back to normal, there still remain many concerns about when the time is right.
We're getting out of the deep and dreary high numbers, I should say, but we need some preservation for longer term.
And many schools are continuing to make that decision on masking in schools. Of course, we're going to continue following this and keep you updated on air and online at abc6.com. Reporting in Fall River, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC6 News.
Thank you. Other schools in Rhode Island and Massachusetts also met last night to decide on the future of masks. In Dartmouth, the school district will follow the state guidance, making masks optional starting February 28th. And in Rhode Island, Portsmouth and Lincoln will lift mandates shortly after the state requirement ends on March 4th. And more school committees will meet tonight to review the new mask guidance and make local decisions. Face coverings are on the agenda in Pawtucket, North Kingstown, and the Exeter West Greenwich Regional School District. We'll bring the latest on those decisions starting tomorrow at 5 a.m. on Good Morning Providence. Another local regional folk school, Bristol Plymouth, is holding an info session tonight on plans to build a new high school. Bristol Plymouth is looking to build a new $305 million school. Voters in each of its member towns will head to the polls to decide whether to approve the associated tax increase on March 5th. The school services Taunton, Rainham, Rehoboth, and Berkeley in our area. That is at 6 o'clock virtually. We have a link to join on our website, abc6.com. And a group of Providence public school parents want state leaders to start looking for a permanent superintendent. Dr. Javier Montanez is currently leading Providence public schools in an interim capacity. The parent group is holding a meeting tonight at 5:30 to discuss what the district should be looking for in its next permanent superintendent. The group wants the governor and education commissioner to start that search by seeking public input. And new at noon today, Providence's mayor just wrapping up an event within the last hour focused on decisions to release suspects in criminal cases on bail. The mayor and the Providence Police Department sharing concerns of victims' families. ABC6 News reporter Hector Molina was there. He is live in Providence with what officials are hoping to accomplish. Hector?
Now, tears, anger, and frustration were just some of the emotions showed by the families we met earlier this morning, and emotions that are shared by thousands of others who have had their loved ones killed by violent offenders who have then been released back into the community. Now, the families we met earlier today had their son shot and killed in Providence earlier this year, and in both cases, those responsible were released back into the streets. Now, the two cases that were discussed include the murders of Andre Bonilla and Tyreek Grundy. Grundy was 25 years old and shot and killed earlier this May. And Bonilla was also shot earlier this year in late August. And in both cases, their killers were released on bail and confined to home confinement. Now, coming up later on the news starting at 4, you'll hear from those families whose loved ones were killed and from city officials as well, including Commissioner Stephen Perry and Mayor Jorge Elorza. In Providence tonight, Hector Molina, ABC6 News.
All right, Hector, thank you. And our ABC6 News crews on scene of a car fire in Cranston this morning. It happened on Rhode Island Street just after 5 a.m. and you could see a parked truck for a residential and commercial company with significant damage to the front. The Cranston Fire Department tells us the fire appears to be accidental. It is under investigation. The man Norton police say nearly hit one of their detectives with a car is due in court today. Police arrested 26-year-old Joshua Terrian of Pawtucket and charged him with trafficking fentanyl. They initially noticed possible drug activity on South Worcester Street, and that's when police say Terrian attempted to flee with his car, nearly hitting a detective. His car then got stuck in the snow, leading to the arrest. Terrian was held on $50,000 bail. We turn now to the weather as we take a live look outside this afternoon with our sky cam. It is bright and it is sunny, but it is also still very cold. Chelsea is at the Weather Center with that first forecast. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, Doreen. Yeah, bitterly cold day out there. Our temperatures right now are only in the 20s. The average low temperature for this time of year is 23 degrees. So we're hovering closer to that this afternoon, more so than the average high of 40. There's also a breeze coming in out of the northwest. It's number 1, keeping us cold. It's number 2, making us feel even cooler. Wind chills in Providence sitting at 13 degrees. Some of us still have wind chills in the single digits right now. 9 is the feel-like temperature in New Bedford, 8 in Wakefield, 11 in Newport, again 13 here in Providence, 12 in Smithfield. So as you're running out any errands this afternoon, running to and from the car, maybe going out to grab some lunch, we are looking at feel-like temperatures down the single digits and teens. It is nice and bright outside. It's going to stay mainly sunny for the rest of the afternoon. You may get a few passing clouds here and there at times, but overall it's just a sunny, cold, breezy day across southern New England. We have a clear and cold night ahead of us, but today is our coldest day on the 7-day forecast. We'll start to warm up tomorrow. I'll have a look at that full 7-day in just a few minutes. Doreen?
Chelsea, thank you. The Massachusetts RMV is warning of long lines next week because of school February vacation. The state DOT is asking people to schedule appointments in advance or use its online tool to avoid needless visits. All RMV service centers are closed Monday for President's Day. There is still much more to come here on ABC6 News at noon. The next phase of Boston's vaccine mandate now in effect, what you need to know. And the latest developments from the Ukrainian border as Russia says it is pulling back some troops. On Smith Hill today, state lawmakers on the Senate Judiciary Committee will hear a bill that will expand mail-in voting access. The Let RI Vote Act would allow vote by mail without needing an excuse. Mail-in voting was significantly expanded because of the coronavirus pandemic, and a number of states across the country are moving to make it more permanent. This bill would also allow people to apply for a mail ballot online. Massachusetts Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito will be in Bristol County this afternoon to discuss the state's Transformative Development Initiative. She'll first stop in New Bedford to meet with Mayor John Mitchell, then visit Mayor Shauna O'Connell in Taunton. The TDI program works to advance economic development in certain areas with an average household income below the state median. Former Rhode Island Governor, now U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, continues her push for the America Competes Act that would provide federal funding to incentivize U.S.-based semiconductor production. On a press call this morning, Raimondo said the auto industry has contributed to 1/3 of the inflation in the country. 8 million fewer cars than expected were made last year because of supply shortages of things like foreign-made conductors. And we turn to some world headlines now. Russia says it will pull back some troops from the Ukrainian border. The country's defense minister says troops from the southern and western military districts will return to their home bases after completing training drills, but other military exercises will continue near Ukraine. According to U.S. estimates, about 130,000 Russian troops have been moved to the borders with Ukraine. And now to our coverage of the coronavirus, and proof of full vaccination is now required in Boston for everyone 12 and up to get into certain places. That includes restaurants, theaters, sporting venues, bars, and clubs. This is part of the Be Together policy put in place by Mayor Wu back in December. Before this, everyone 12 and up just had to show proof of one vaccine dose, and now it's 2 doses. And local health leaders are weighing in on a new CDC study on boosters. That study, published last week, suggested booster effectiveness wanes after just 4 months. It shows that with the Omicron variant dominant, vaccine effectiveness against hospitalizations dropped from 71% in the 2 months after vaccination to just 54% in about 5 months. That started some talk about a second booster.
The only group that at this point I would recommend a 4th shot for are the immunosuppressed, those folks who are unlikely to have manufactured adequate antibodies after their 1st, 2nd, or 3rd shots. For the over 65, for others who have multiple chronic conditions, please continue to mask up when you're out in public right now, particularly in those states, which are most of them, where cases are still relatively high, but it's too soon to go out and get another booster.
Randy says an Omicron-specific booster is still being worked on. Well, coming up, a huge game at the Dunk tonight. We're going to preview PC's top 10 matchup against Villanova and tell you about the historical significance here.
And now, your ABC6 Stormtracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Sunny but bitterly cold outside today. I showed you this shot yesterday at noontime and the beach was snow covered. The waves were pretty angry. It was a very gusty day. We're not feeling all that much better outside today, but you can see the sand and the waves have certainly calmed down. The temperatures, though, still really cold. 27 for Block Island right now, 21 for Newport, 24 for Westerly, 24 here in Providence, 23 in Smithfield, 19 still for Falmouth, 18 for Martha's Vineyard. The average low temperature, the coldest temp of the day, is 23 degrees, or what it should be for this time of year. And that's where we're hovering for highs this afternoon. The average high, the warmest temp of the day, should be around 40 degrees, and we are nowhere near that today. The good news, today is the coldest day on the 7-day forecast. I do have warmer temperatures moving in the coming days. Breeze from the northwest isn't helping. Number one, a wind direction from the northwest, about 10 to 15 miles per hour, continues to pull in colder air from the north of us. It also makes us feel so much cooler. Our wind chills right now are in the low teens. 13 for a feel-like temperature in Providence, 12 in Smithfield, 8 in Wakefield, 11 for Newport, 9 in New Bedford at the moment. So a very, very chilly day out there. But as I said, today is going to be our coldest day of the 7-day forecast. We have that breeze with us right now, continuing to keep us feeling more like the teens into the afternoon and early evening hours. But you look at about 10 or 11 o'clock, winds are going to calm down overnight. So yes, we have another very cold night ahead of us, but we eliminate the wind chill factor because winds really calm down and we end up with calm conditions overnight. So teens and feel like temperatures in the teens for tomorrow morning. From there, we're going to start to warm up. We end up with highs tomorrow in the low to mid 40s, slightly warmer than average. And then we have 50s for Thursday night and into Friday. Friday's one of those days where in the morning we have our warmest temperature of the day. I would say by Friday afternoon, after a cold front comes through, we're going to see temperatures more so in the 40s for the later part of the day. And it looks like we hover around 40 into the weekend, but we're back into the 50s on Monday. So the trend is certainly upward after today, even with the dip into the weekend. Satellite radar image over the last 6 hours shows you that we have sunshine. I mean, barely a cloud in sight right now. There's a little cloud coverage up to our north and our west. You may get a few fair weather clouds coming through at times for the afternoon and early evening hours. But all in all, we're looking at plenty of sunshine for today. Clear conditions tonight and mainly sunny for at least the start of the day tomorrow. Futurecast shows you just that. We're clear as we head through tonight. Temperatures down to the teens, but winds are calm. Feel like temperature in the teens. From there, sunshine for the start of the day tomorrow. Breeze tomorrow starts to come in from the south to the southwest. So that little wind shift starts to bring in warmer conditions. 40s tomorrow. Overnight clouds are with us, so we wake up Thursday morning with temperatures around 40 degrees. And most of Thursday does look rain-free ahead of an approaching cold front. Now, that cold front will eventually bring rain to the area, going to bring some gusty winds to the area, especially as the day goes on Thursday night, and into Friday. But we are very warm ahead of the front. Once the front does cross through, again, that's when our temperatures start to drop. But it's not a drastic drop like as cold as we are today. We just get back down to seasonable temperatures. Mid to upper 20s today. With the breeze, we feel even cooler. Again, winds calm overnight. Temperatures in the teens, feel like temperatures in the teens. And then tomorrow we turn things around. Breeze starts to come in from the south, picks up a bit in the afternoon, with temperatures making it into the mid 40s. 50s on Thursday, overnight, and into Friday morning. From there, wind shifts, temperatures drop a bit. We're around 40 degrees for the weekend, but back into the 50s into early next week. Tori?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. Well, there is a huge game at the Dunk tonight for the PC Fires men's basketball team. Ed Cooley's squad is now ranked number 8 in the country, heading into a matchup tonight with number 10 Villanova. This is the first time Providence has hosted a game with both teams in the top 10 since 2016, and just the second time in the history of the program. Well, HBO's drama Gilded Age, which was partially shot in Newport, is picked up for season 2. The show, which debuted in January, follows the lives of New York City millionaires in the 1880s. This season wraps up March 21st. The show was created by Julian Fellows, the same man behind Downton Abbey. And the Oscars finally revealing the hosts of this year's award show, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. They will each take 1 hour of the telecast. The last 3 Oscar telecasts have not had a host. The 94th Oscars is set to air March 27th right here on ABC6. Pick of the litter is next here at noon today. Meet this girl, Pixie, a 4-year-old mixed breed ready to play.
Pick of the Litter. Brought to you by Moriarty's Invisible Fence.
Welcome back. It's Tuesday. That means it's time for a Pick of the Litter. We have Wayne and Ruby here from the RSPCA, and you have brought with you Pixie today. She's a sweet girl.
She seems to be a sweet girl. She's a 4.5-year-old mix. She's 35 pounds, so she's relatively small, but her prior owner did have a DNA test done, and she came back showing that she was more than half American Staffordshire Terrier, so she's got some pit bull in her.
Okay.
She's a pretty sweet girl. She is not good with cats.
We know that.
Forewarned, please, no cats.
Okay.
Other than that, she's good on a leash. She's got a good temperament. She does have a medical condition that requires some medication daily, but it's an inexpensive medication.
Okay.
So she's a pretty good animal for any family. We'd like older children.
Sure.
Because, you know, if she's chasing cats, we're afraid she'll be
Right.
chasing little kids.
Chasing little kids as well. What about other dogs?
We haven't tried her with other dogs, so we could do a meet and greet
Okay.
and check her out, but we're sure she doesn't go with cats.
Okay, we're positive on the cats. We're gonna be careful with the little kids, avoid that. But some older kids would be perfect for Pixie, and maybe a meet and greet would be great.
A meet and greet would be great, and
Yeah.
we're always happy to try the dogs that we're adopting with the family dogs before we send them out.
That's a great idea.
But she's nice and calm now. She's great in the car, and I think she'd make a nice pet.
Yeah, she's a real sweetheart. She came in, said hello to everybody. She loves her treats as well. She knows a lot of her commands and knows that a treat comes after a command. So there's that. If you are interested in Pixie, you can contact the RSPCA at 401-438-8150. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, just when I'm warming up from walking in the building, Chelsea, it's time to walk back out into the cold.
I know, and it's beautiful outside. I mean, we have perfect sunshine today. There's a little bit of a breeze. Temperatures are in the 20s, and with the breeze, we feel more like the teens and even single digits out there. We have a cold night ahead of us, but less wind, so less wind chill factor. And then tomorrow, we start to warm up into the 40s and eventually the 50s for Thursday and Friday. That eventually comes with rain and wind through the area, and temperatures drop a bit, but stay seasonable through the weekend. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, sounds good. Thank you. And thank you for joining us for the news at noon. The news continues first at 4. Have a great afternoon, everybody.